Hello, my name is Austin Garza, and I'm here to talk about phishing attacks. Phishing attacks are a fraudulent practice of sending emails perpetrating to be from reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal their personal information, such as passwords and credit card numbers, and other information as well. These can be extremely threatening to a company because it threatens reputation, consumer relations, and company security. When hackers and scammers are successful in contracting the personal information needed, the following actions can cause severe financial and personal complications and distress, especially if the hacker is posing in the form of a trusting company. Then the company can, in turn, is also looked down upon by communities, especially those affected. It is important that, or when notified, a company must take considerable action to warn their consumers about suspicious activity that could later result in fraudulent cases. Hackers can also turn towards companies and target them in hacking by going after confidential information held within their own company. So Adobe data breaches of 2017. Adobe, the American multinational computer software company known today, had its software hacked in 2013. A hacker had managed to infiltrate Adobe systems, bypassing firewalls and retrieving personal information on more than 153.3 million accounts. Some of the personal information included passwords, emails, and credit card numbers of numerous victims. Adobe suffered a loss in consumers by nearly 3% and were on the rise until 2017, when another cybersecurity infiltration occurred. The company had seemingly failed their consumers again, and over 7.5 million accounts were exposed online. After the scandal, many protesters came forward and campaigned for another cloud-based option, like Apple's iCloud. This 2017 data breach also declined in sales by 5% in 2018. What to learn from Adobe breaches? Any company can learn from scandals that Adobe faced. It was a shock to consumers as well as other companies that such a major corporation could be breached. The lesson to take away from Adobe's two posing failures are to stay updated and protected always within cybersecurity, and to assure and establish trust among consumers. If a company fails to have a relationship with their clients, they cannot expect to be trusted with such personal and critical information. Legal and ethical implications. When such personal information is involved in a sensitive case, there's a lot of trust that consumers are placing into companies when they allow them to access things like emails, passwords, and credit card information. Because of the type of information involved, there are a lot of legal and ethical implications that employees, company, and consumers must consider. Employees, mainly customer support, will be bombarded with victimized consumers always wanting to know how to get their information or money back. Lower level employees are not qualified enough to have the correct information regarding the consumer's concerns. This also begins to set stage for losing trust within the company and clients, as the employees are also representatives of the company. If no questions are being answered right away, that causes for a lot of anger and mistrust within consumers. A company not only has to deal with consumers that were a part of the scandal, but the legal consequences of breaches as well. Heavy fines are often ordered to companies on top of legal compensation that they owe the victims of the case. They usually are estimated in the $1 million range, depending on company size and breaches. Negative impacts on organizations. When a company faces a breach, it can be in the end of all of an organization. And the accounting and finance department's financial databases have been compromised and could have been potentially released and exposed without company knowledge or consent. In the marketing department, they are typically fast at work at trying to find the best possible way of managing the situation while trying to paint the company in a good light. It is common to see a company release an apology statement after a scandal, much like a cybersecurity breach. This is the organization's way for taking responsibility of the action for those that were hurt and assuring the consumers to ease their anger. You can also expect a company to execute a stricter performance and way of business operations to prevent from another slip up to prove to consumers they are handling the matter seriously. Finally, there can also be the negative impact faced on the economics of business. Things like loss in sales or amount of users is a large loss in a company's. There's a lot of that There's a lot that a company must work in order to get back to assuming regular business after a cybersecurity breach. How employees can help. Employees can be utilized for many valuable aspects within a company that goes just beyond their normal day-to-day work. Employees should be expected to keep up to date with technology and company standards of internet access and provisions. This can also include the kinds of sites that are visited, as well to keep these hackers to break through those firewalls and retrieve information. Being aware of these kinds of sites that an employee is using is critical to keep the computer system from being compromised. It is also largely important that the employees are in contact with consumers. Not only does this help to build trust, but it also allows employees to keep an eye out for the potential fraud emails or phone calls that customers receive. This can then help the company in preventing a breach if consumers are aware of the fraudulent cases out there. Policies and strategies. For a company to limit the power of a hacker, there are certain steps that can be taken in order to ensure the power lays within company favor. To begin, if a hacker thrives off the information that is stored within databases, the company should refocus on the amount of information that they hold, and a lot of it is necessary. Whether it's necessary or an essential. Companies have begun on a regular process of purging data that exceeds certain timeframes, like 10 to 20 years or so. This is a strict and refined process that only allows the company to rid unnecessary information. Next, organizations should limit the amount of information access between levels of management and employees. Companies should also focus on devising a draft of appropriate usage guidelines to not confuse any areas of misuse of equipment and internet access. This is important because this area specifically has a lot of potential to be an easy access point for hackers if employees fail to follow the guidelines. There should also be the implementation of routine checkups within company equipment and employees. This furthers integrity and accountability in employees and management. Educating employees. Distribution of the appropriate usage guidelines will erase confusion on what sites employees can explore, which are blocked, and what appropriate use is defined as. Further, the evaluation of access to employees based on level of management is a great strategy to ensure that the right information stays in the right hands of the company. Meeting with employees on a monthly basis allows management to gauge their employees on the responsibility levels of their ethics and their work. The monthly inspection on equipment also allows the company to retain accountability and integrity. And these are my references. Thank you.